Ayan. We're live on YouTube. So, sometimes mas marami sa YouTube eh. Kasi siguro hindi ma-access yung Zoom.
Yeah, mas madali yata yung YouTube, ano?
Kaya in-enable ko na yung in-enable ko na yung comment. Dinisable ko yung comment last week eh. So, monitor ko kung may questions doon. Okay. So, I opened up the broadcast. We wait for the attendees to fill in.
It's like a classroom setting, no? Like you open the door of the classroom and all the students come in. Except it's virtual.
Minsan nga, hirap magsalita kasi you're not talking to anybody.
Right.
Kaya gusto rin ng speaker na dito kami ni Teddy. Kasi para may nakikita.
Yeah, at least may kausap
Pag
ka, di ba?
Pag wala nakikita,
Ang hirap.
Ang hirap.
Hard.
It's adjustment siya.
Pero nag-aano rin si coach sa mga coaches mga di ba?
It's just hard kasi you don't know at least nakikita mo yung muka if they are receptive or not to what you're saying. Now you don't know if you're saying the right thing or not. You just keep going. Tuloy-tuloy ka na, tuloy-tuloy.
Coach, if they're here, they're interested.
Yeah, for sure.
So, for sure.
Until
attendees are coming in now. So
they are receptive.
Of course, who wouldn't be interested?
Right.
Siyempre, it's got the most registrant. You can still see the screen share, no?
You can see it, yeah.
Okay. Baka kung ano yung ma-share ko. All right. Good evening to the attendees. We're just waiting on the other attendees, the other registrant to enter the webinar. Again, good evening. Everyone is safe and healthy. So it's another night of sharing, and we're so fortunate to have, of course, the head of our coaches academy of the Samahan Basketball ng Pilipinas, multi-titled coach in the PBA. So, and of course, we all know that he was a former national team player and played and coached with the legendary coach Ron Jacobs. So I think we have a pretty good size attendees, and we can start. We're live on YouTube, and again, joining us for today is of course Doc Teddy, who's been helping me, doing a great job helping me in this webinar series. And of course, thank you to Hoop Coaches and Blackwater for making it happen. And Blackwater are supporting our heroes, the frontliners who are risking their health and well-being to attend to COVID-19 patients. Again, we're helping the frontliners of the Pasig City General Hospital, and you can check on Blackwater's social media accounts and how you can help. Without further ado, again, I'd like to welcome you all, coaches and fellow coaches, to the third day of our webinar. And Doc Teddy, can you say hello and good evening to everyone?
So good evening, Coach Jong. Good evening, Coach Ariel. Good evening to all of our participants watching us here in Zoom and over YouTube.
All right. So yeah, without further ado, I'd like to introduce multi-titled coach as mentioned, and no further introductions needed. 'Cause, he's our head of our coaches academy, and of course, legend coach and nine-time champion in the PBA. Would like to present to you Coach Jong Uichico. Coach Jong, good evening.
Good evening, Ariel, Coach Ariel, and Doc Teddy. Thank you for having me here. It's something to do, and at least I can share to our fellow coaches a little knowledge that we have and experience.
Thank you, Coach, for sharing your time and knowledge. And of course, as I mentioned, you're the top notcher in terms of in terms of registrants, and I hope they all join us and live. And also, we got some good news since we're also raising funds and awareness for the frontliners. We'll be auctioning out some coaching boards from our fellow coaches, the top
Wow.
rated coaching boards. Some we gotta be raffled off. Alex Compton sent his boards, and Coach Nash Rosella, Coach Luyalas, and some books also from Coach Juji Abran. We also have Coach John Calio sent his board. So we'll be able also to help fellow coaches in this mentorship program.
Nabato ko na yung board ko eh. Mano yun?
Ito na ko. Mga books na lang, Coach.
Sige, sige.
Okay, Coach. I think we got a pretty good number now, so I think you can start. And just a backgrounder. So I know you were a player, started as a player with Coach Ron. So tell us more about the story about it.
Oh, when he came in the early 80s for the national team, I was still in LaSalle. And then nagpa-try out si Coach Ron for the 1982 youth team. Yun, for the national team. 1982 youth team, nag-try out kami. And doon nag-umpisa yung relationship namin ni Coach Ron. From 1982 onwards to I stopped playing in 1984, 85. Pero nag-continue yun up to my coaching career. So mahaba yung pagkakakilala namin ni Coach Ron. But it all started in 1982 when he was tapped as the national team coach for the Philippines.
So I'm sure you have plenty of stories about Coach Ron, the late Coach Ron Jacobs. And okay, Coach, you can start on your presentation if you want to share, or you want to talk first, or you can. The floor is yours.
Yeah, we'll mix it up with. Wait, let me get this right. Ayan. All right. So, nag-introduce na si Coach Ariel sa akin. So, yeah, I'm Coach Jong, former PBA coach. Hopefully, we can all get back. Hopefully, we can all get back to the PBA. But in the meantime, it's my time of sharing to our fellow coaches, and it's a very fulfilling kung nakaka-share tayo sa kapwa nating coach. We will talk about the legacy that Coach Ron left when he started coaching dito sa Philippines. It was new to us. It was new to us because dati if you're a center, you play anywhere 12 to 15 feet in the basket. Tapos, if you're a guard, you always stay outside. But Coach Ron revolutionized the game in the early 80s, introducing to us the positionless basketball, meaning that anybody can play anywhere in his type of offense. And he introduced to us the 5-out motion offense. In fact, I'm very lucky and honored to have known Coach Ron and to have learned a lot from Coach Ron from my playing days up to my coaching days. Because I'm saying this because I advise all the coaches that are listening or watching YouTube that if you can have a mentor or somebody that you can talk to in times of trouble, syempre parang roller coaster yung coach yan eh. You win some, you lose some. So if you have somebody to talk to, guidance, not only sa basketball but even sa buhay natin, I advise really to have a mentor. I'm sure that there are a lot of senior coaches that are willing to mentor the younger ones because the younger ones will be the one to take over basketball any sooner or later. And young coaches, have an open mind because these experienced coaches have experienced a lot. So, yun ang advice ko sa inyo. Anyway, there are a lot of types of motion offense, but the five-out motion offense was introduced by Coach Ron in the early 80s precisely because he felt that our skill set, sa Filipino skill set, bagay dun sa five-out motion offense. There are many motion offenses. There is the ball screen motion offense that you discussed the other night, but that's more structured. You have the flex offense. It's also a motion type of offense, but it's a little bit more structured, wherein you are anywhere between 12 to 15 feet to the basket. While you see now the motion offense, 5-out is outside of the three-point line. There is nobody inside the three-point line, but you can go inside the three-point line because we have to maintain this spacing. The 1-2-2 spacing outside the three-point line has to be maintained. So the longer you run the offense, the closer it gets. Lalapit and lalapit yan. So you have to be very disciplined to stay in that offense. And then you run those excess there. So this offense helps us recognize the defense and makes decisions. So medyo freelance offense, you can call it positionless or freelance offense, but you have some type of structure or guideline where you should go depending on what the defense is doing. I hope I'm getting it right. But later on, we will matututo natin yan when we start breaking down the offense. Yeah,
So
if you want to just interject, Coach Ariel, you can interject.
yes. And right now, very popular na rin ang five out offense ngayon, coach. So talagang 82 pa pala in-introduce na ni Coach Ron sa atin yan.
Yes, in the early 80s, positionless 5-out offense. Ngayon, you see in the NBA, lahat sila 5-out because precisely because of their skill set. Nawala na yung legit big man na Shaquille O'Neal, ganon. Everybody is very hindi naman frail, but very versatile yan. Very versatile, very skillful. So why will you have somebody stay in the post when he can take you off the dribble outside or shoot the three-point shot? Mas mahirap bantayin yung ganon kaysa sa somebody that is just a total inside player. But if you have a Shaquille O'Neal, why Junmar Fajardo? Yeah, Junmar Fajardo. Of course, you will make him stay inside because he is a very dominant player inside the paint. That's a different story. But how did the motion offense come about? How did Coach Ron come about deciding bakit motion offense ang itatakbo ng Philippines? Kasi galing siyang States. Iba ang player niya sa States, iba ang player niya dito sa Pilipinas pagdating niya. So nag-aral din siya. So why did I decide on motion offense? Precisely because the Filipino skill set is based on quickness, good perimeter skills, face-up player tayo, dribble, quickness, at saka nakaka-shoot tayo. So the motion offense, if you have this type of skill set sa player mo, motion offense is a very good offense to run. All right? During the 80s. Now there is motion offense, but it's not the same as the motion offense that we run before. But it is very similar in terms of reads and freelance and positionless. But
is it more sorry, coach, is it more disciplined before or more strict on whether on the reads or where to go?
Yes, medyo mas may guidelines yung noon eh.
Okay.
Ngayon, because
Okay.
medyo advanced na ngayon ng skill set ng player, you are more freelance to do whatever you want to do because mas mataas ang skill set ngayon ng player. Eh.
Okay.
So they can do, they're more freelance. There's more freedom. There's more freedom.
Okay.
Before, it was freedom to read whatever the different decision making. Ngayon, freedom to go one-on-one. There's a difference. Eh? All right? Freedom to go one-on-one when you think you can take it. So, yun. So that's why Coach Ron decided on running motion because of these three. Nakita natin, wala naman tayong size, wala naman tayong malaki. Pinakamalaki natin, baka 6'5", hindi pa dominating sa loob. So, we run the 5-out motion offense. And remember, motion offense can also be said as a passing game, can be also said as a screening game. Both of them are the same. Passing game, screening game, motion game. They're very, very similar. All right, what is the essence of the offense? The essence, ang emphasis talaga nitong offense is to be patient. Because freelance offense, you have to be more patient with the freelance offense, more disciplined with the freelance offense kasi you can do anything you want. So kailangan mas pasensya tayo to get a better shot by somebody or to wait for the defense to break down for a better opportunity. Pag nagmamadali tayo, motion offense will not be the right offense to run because it is predicated on certain movement and waiting for the defense to break down. During the 30-second shot clock, I remember, ngayon 24 before 30 seconds. So you have enough time to wait for the defense to break down. Kaya patience was important at that time. Pasensya. Huwag tayong magmamadali. Coach, alam niyo yan, di ba? Huwag tayong magmamadali. Pasensya tayo. Patience tayo sa offense and then we can get a better shot. Kasi minsan, ako, libre na ako, pero baka mas libre yung mas magandang shooter, ihintayin ko mas malibre siya bago ako. So, more discipline tayo. So, ngayon, maganda rin yung offense na to. The essence is sharing the basketball. Unlike the Golden State Warriors, pasa-pasa, sharing ng basketball. So, it's hard to say that it's an equal opportunity, but you have every opportunity to score also. But alam natin ang basketball, hindi equal opportunity ang basketball. The better players will take the more shots. But it gives you also a chance to take the shot at your given time. So sharing the basketball is, ang ganda maglaro, maganda yung opensa if you like to share the basketball. The more sharing that you have, the more assist that you will have. And coaches like the assist game. The higher the assist, the better the ball movement, the better your offense is. That's why the essence is sharing the basketball. And the next one is recognition and reads. It teaches our players to recognize what the defense is doing, make his reads, and decide on what to do offensively. Importante yun. Hindi tayo robot na kailangan dito tayo magpunta, kailangan dun tayo magpunta. Hindi. Kasi nag-iiba ang depensa ngayon. So, therefore, if the offense is based on what the defense does, therefore you cannot be scouted because it doesn't matter what the defense gives you, you can react to the defense, you can counter the defense. Hindi kagaya when you run plays and the offense and the defense knows your plays, mas madali kang hintuin. Ito hindi eh. Hindi alam ng depensa kung anong gagawin mo. Ikaw, alam mo yung gagawin mo, depende doon sa pinapakitang depensa. So those are the three essence of the offense that we should emphasize. So that's why it's a really good offense. But aside from these three, ito yung mga detalye na dapat natin pag-aralan so that the offense will become effective. And you have to drill this every day and emphasize to the players how to make hard cuts. Kailangan hard cut, hindi pwedeng soft cut because you want the defense to react to the cut. If the defense reacts to the cut, then the other person will be open because the other people will help because you made the hard cut straight to the basket. Right? Good screens because the game of motion that Coach Ron introduced as 5-out is a screening and passing game. So it's aside from it's not a ball screen, it is a screen away from the ball. So movement or scoring is away from the ball. We never had ball screens. Unlike now, it is all ball screens. All right. But what's nice about the screen off the ball is because most points are scored off the ball, not on the ball. Because the defense will be concentrated where? On the ball. So it teaches us players and us coaches how to teach movement away from the basketball. So good screens are important. Good, we can go into the details later on. But the screening game to open up your teammate is very important in the game of basketball. Hindi lang pwede pasa, hindi lang pwede puro one-on-one or puro dribble. The screening is part of a good offensive system. Right? Whether it is on the ball or off the ball. Yes, coach.
Excuse me, coach. If full screen daw kung pwede.
Okay.
Yung
How do you do that? Sorry.
I think you have to push play.
Yun.
Yan, better?
Or push play.
Push play. I think at the top.
Is that better? No.
Push play na lang,
push
coach.
play, coach.
Oh, play. Okay. Okay. Here.
There. Yan.
Coach, before you continue, there has been a lot of our coaches are from different levels of basketball. And one question that has been asked over the last 2 sessions is, how long is it before a player gets comfortable with the offense? And the second question is, what if they're not as quick into learning how to make the reads? As a coach, what can you suggest so that they can learn it quicker?
Okay. All right. I always say that. All right. I always say that there are four. I teach there are 4 learning. How do you say learning
points?
Types of learning of an individual. Types of learning ng individual. All right. One is one player might not get it when you are in actual demo. For example, you're in the basketball court. We are 10 there. Okay, this is what you do. Some people, some coaches, some players are not so comprehensive about that. But if they're able to watch it on video, it becomes clearer to them. All right, it becomes clear to them. Then the other one is by reading. Some of them they like to read rather than watch video. I see some players when they're watching video, they're sleeping. Kasi hindi niya learning tool yun eh. He likes actual and reading. So and then other players like the talking. So you have to exhaust all these means, and then these players will eventually get it. If properly explained, I think they can get it. There will always be mistakes. It's not going to be perfect. The read will not be perfect, but eventually they will get it sooner or later. I don't believe na hindi makukuha ng player yung reads. He might make the wrong read, yes, but it's not going to be perfect. Just as long as he made a decision on the type of yung decision niya yun ang decision niya eh. All right? So you live with that because you are teaching him how to decide and read the defense. Yan.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Coach.
We have another question here. Hi, from Jefferson. Hi, Coach. When the motion offense comes, when it comes time to take the shot for grassroots kids, when is the right time to take the shot during a motion offense?
All right, you have to recognize what is a good shot for that player and what is a bad shot for that player. Yun eh. Yun lang yun eh. You have to recognize what is a good shot for that player and what's a bad shot for that player. If I shoot a shot early in the offense, it might be a good shot for me, but it might not be a good shot for the other player. Or it might be or later on down the, as the shot clock is going down, it might be a good shot for everybody because the shot clock is going down already. So it really depends on an individual. What is a good shot? Kasi alam mo ng player eh. Coach, libre, I'm free. So it's a good shot for me. No, no, no. That is why it has to be very disciplined. That you should recognize what a good shot for that player is or not.
I think everybody of us watched The Last Dance, and there was that time when the triangle was introduced. Michael Jordan at first hesitated on it. So I think it's the same thing with the motion offense, diba, Coach?
Oh, it's very because this structured type triangle is a very structured type of offense. It's very hard to, especially ang gagaling ng mga player na yan. Why do I need to run all this movement? I can just get the ball and go one-on-one, di ba? But Coach Phil Jackson made them buy into it. He made them buy into it and they bought into it. So malaking bagay yung buy-in ng player sa type of offense, which we bought into the motion offense. We did not have, minsan nga nagagalit si Coach Ron sa akin, ba't ko tinira yun eh? Eh mas magaling tumira sa akin doon, di ba? Eh ako libre ako, coach, eh bakit ba? O di ba? Parang ganon, but we had to buy into it to get a better shot. Yes, you have a good shot, but you can get a better shot.
Okay. Okay, Coach, you can continue with the slides muna before we take more questions.
I know, but I lost it. How did I?
Backspace. Go back to the previous slide. Yeah.
There.
Yeah, I'm trying to. All right, we're on hard cuts already. All right. Maybe I should stop share first, ano? Nawawala eh.
There's animation in the.
I even lost my
video.
arrow eh.
Okay, just stop share and then share again.
Stop
Coach.
share. Yeah.
All right. Where did I go? Wait. Give me 2 seconds.
All right, Coach.
Coach, maybe it's a good time to remind, since there are more participants now, about the contest and the giveaways.
Yes,
All right.
good news for coaches. We will have we'll be giving away coaching boards to deserving attendees, and also we will auction out signed, personalized coaching boards from our distinguished coaches.
Oh, the drawings here. Where is it? The whole thing. I'm looking for the whole thing. No, the whole thing. All right, just take that out. Yeah,
There you go.
I found it. Okay, I found it. All right. All right. So
okay,
where
Coach,
we are?
let's
Okay, now,
continue. I think they can see them.
yeah. Are we in big mode already?
Yes, it's in big mode now. Oh, you came back to that screen, huh?
Okay.
Either way, which I think they can see them. Well, both ways they can see.
Both ways,
even if it's not full screen. Mas maganda yung may guide.
All right. I have no guideline here. I need a guide. You showed it already kanina. Okay, here we go.
Just don't go full screen anymore. Don't go full screen.
Yeah.
I think it's okay.
I get lost there.
All right.
All
okay.
right. So now, we're talking about, now good screens. We talked about good screens. Now we need good quick passing because it's a passing game. We need good quick passing. You can't hold the ball. If you hold the ball, then the offense stops. So in any offense, you want the offense to go from side to side, in and out, side to side. So the more you reverse the ball, the better it is. All right? So good quick passing is important. So we have passing drills. We have a lot of, remember, Coach Ariel, we have dribbling drills.
Mm-hmm.
We have shooting drills, but very seldom do we have passing drills. We might have some three-man weaves or here or there, but
Mm-hmm.
the essence of the passing game is more on passing. So we need to have more passing drills and good passes, good, quick, crisp passes. That's important. Okay. Now you also need spacing. As you see this picture down here, we are in a 1-2-2. We discussed this that you should be outside of the 3-point line to floor space, which is 15 to 18 feet apart. You cannot get closer unless you are screening away. But eventually, you will have that spacing again later on. So it's very important to keep the spacing, or else your cuts to the basket will not be open. They'll be easily defended if you have poor spacing. Again, dribbling. Yes, it is not bad to dribble, but you should have a use for your dribble. Don't dribble and just stay on your spot. If you want to dribble, it is either you get a better angle on the pass or you're going to the basket. It is hard to help going to the basket on the dribble if there are other four people moving. Right? And that is the motion offense. And again, I'll say that constant movement. There has to be constant movement. After every pass, you have to move. We will go to that later on. The mortal sin there is in a motion offense is do not move. You
Mm-hmm.
cannot not move. You have to move. Whatever it is, just move. As we say, do not stand and watch. That is the saying of coaches. Do something except on offense, except watch the ball. Do not watch the ball. All right. And of course, we talked about this, is always take good shots. If you take a bad shot, it does not matter what offense you run, any offense will not work. So you have to recognize what is a good shot for you and what is a good shot and what is a bad shot. It's easier to determine now what is a good shot and what is a bad shot because there are statistics already now. Nung panahon namin, no statistics. It is just by feel. Sabi ni coach, magaling na shooter to kasi he shot 4 in a row or 3 in a row. Yung iba, 3 miss. Ngayon, hindi na, naka-numero na. So, if the player complains, no coach, that's a good shot. No, you're 2 for 6. How can you're 2 for 6? How can that be a good shot for you? Right? In your
Mm-hmm.
practice drills.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier now to recognize what a good and a bad shot is. So all these things should be drilled. All of these things should be drilled for the motion offense to be effective. Okay? Now we can break it down. We have to break it down into parts. Coach Ariel knows that there are two teaching methods: the whole, the part, or the part and the whole. I am a schooling of the and then the breakdown, but I
Uh-huh.
prefer the
Part method.
part whole method.
Part
Yeah.
whole method. Thank
All
you.
right. So here, okay. First, we have to drill cuts to receive the ball. There are two cuts. One is for me, they're all the same. V cut, L cut, iniiba-iba lang angulo. But I just say, set your man up. Do not just go straight to the basketball. That's one of that you have to drill before going to any motion offense. All right. Pass, cut, and fill. That's another movement of the motion offense. Pass, screen away. See, there are only three basic movements of the motion offense or any offense, I think, is get your B cuts. If you cut, somebody has to fill, or you pass the ball and screen away, or you cut. Your choice. Now you pass and screen the ball. All right? Di ba ganun, you pass and screen the ball.
Mm-hmm.
All screen motion. But uh, if that's the offense you run, because the tendency of all these players is pass and screen the ball. Once you pass and screen the ball, then motion offense breaks down really. It really breaks down. So the pass and screen away was implemented. All right? So, all right. All right. So now, we already know that how to receive the ball. We already know that. Now we already know the pass and cut and fill. Now, what can you do when you are being screened off the ball? Ano ang pwedeng gawin? One is you can shoot the ball. If there is a good screen, you can shoot the ball. If the defense trails you or follows you, you can curl the way it is. We have a video, curl.
Mhm.
If the defense overplays you or denies you, you can backdoor. If the defense, whenever there is a curl or a backdoor, the screener has to step back to the ball. We'll explain that later on why. If there is a switch, the screener has to slip or cut to the basket. We'll explain that why. If the defender goes under to cheat, then you can flare to the ball. Ang daming if, ano?
Mhm.
Too many ifs. But that is the beauty of the offense. Because regardless of what the defense gives you, he will just take what the defense gives. And that is recognizing and reading the defense. Right? And uh, and this is drilled every day. Reads, drilled. 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-0, 3-on-3. So kailangan dinidrill to araw-araw until you are, as Doc said, until you are comfortable with the movement. Some people will just screen once and then stand. No, you have to screen up to the bottom man. Basta may tao doon sa bottom, screenan mo yun para hindi maputol yung motion offense.
Mhm.
Yun.
That's a
So,
good point.
yeah, don't stand. Screen up to the bottom man. All right? Are there any questions? Because if there are none, we will go to the video already.
Let's go to the video muna, Coach,
Sige.
and then we have a lot of questions, but I think most of them you were able to answer
All
with the
right.
presentation.
Okay. First on offense is the B cut. How to receive the ball. Cuts to receive the basketball. This is minsan nakakalimutan ng mga coach to. So, simple drill. A coach and a player. B cut. Simple lang. And then once you get the ball, face up, do your triple threat, whatever it is. Ito, L cut naman to receive the ball. All right? Why do we need to practice that? Because you want to set your man up to receive the ball in scoring position. If you just step out to receive the ball, the defender can just deny you. Very easy to deny you. So B cuts receiving the ball or L cuts receiving the ball is very important. It's a little detail, but that detail is very important in an offense, in receiving the basketball. How many times have you seen a player not do a B cut, then all of a sudden, when his teammate passes the ball, naagaw, tapos lay up na doon sa kabilang court? Right? So it happens a lot of times. Now this is the play. All right, this is the cuts of the screen. First is the curl cut. If the defense curls, if the same simple drill, screen away, and then he curls to the basket for the layup. That's one, a simple drill. The flare. When do we do the flare? When do we do the curl? I said when you trail or he follows, he curls. Why does he curl? Kasi nasa likod yung tao, di ba? Nasa likod siya, he's at the back. So I'm open for the curl. When do I flare? If the defense cheats, dadaya na siya underneath because he knows you are going towards the ball, then you flare. So, here it is. Okay, for example, the defense is cheating underneath number 5. The defense will cheat underneath number 5. There. So now, the defense is screened by number 5 or is behind number 5. That is an open shot on the flare. You step behind the pick, and then you will have this shot all night long if they defend that way. Okay, when do you backdoor? Okay, you backdoor when the defense overplays you or denies you. That means he will not make you get the ball. He will go in between number 2 and number 5. See, if he cheats, then you have a backdoor. All right. Now, in this scenario, a backdoor and a curl, number 5 has to step back to the ball. Because who will help number 2 if he is open? The defender of 5-man will help number 2 if number 2 is open on a backdoor or a curl. Therefore, number 5 will be open on a step back to the ball. We will show this in the next here. Screener flashes back. Okay, if number 5's man helps number 2, then 5-man will be open because number 2 will get a layup. Then you flare back to the ball, boom, and then if you're open, shoot the jump shot. All right, now screener slips. This is when they are switching. Nowadays, it's a switching game. Nowadays, they like switching on the ball, off the ball, they like switching. All right, so now if they're switching off the ball, that means number 5's man will switch to number 2, and number 2 man will switch to number 5. So if that's happened, there. So now 2 man will come up here, and then 5 man will just slip. And he should be open. If he's not open, then you continue the motion offense. All right? I hope they can picture it.
Yeah. Very clear demonstration, coach. Very clear video. So I think they were able to.
All right. So now you broke it down to 1-0, 2-0. Now you will try to make this in a team concept already. Team concept. We break it down on 3-0, 4-0, 5-0. Of course, I will not show any more 3-3, 4-4, 5-5. But that's already automatic. You start with 3-0, then 3-3, 4-0, 4-4, 5-0, 5-5. Okay, so now we will start with the 3-0. Oops. Yeah. Okay, offense 3-0. Remember, we are in a. Okay, why is there a minimum of 5 passes? Because it's supposed to be a patience and sharing the ball type of offense where everybody gets touches. If you don't put a minimum number of passes, the first player that is open will shoot the ball. If that is the case, then you just run a play so that I can shoot the ball. But it is based on a motion offense, correct?
Yes.
Right? Okay. So I just put, usually it was 10 passes, but for this purpose, because the 24-second shot clock now doesn't allow 10 passes. It's a different scenario now. All right. Okay. Why point, wing, wing? That's the point and the wing and the wing. Because our motion offense is set on a 1-2-2 position. Others have 2-3 set. Others have slap, corner, and a loop man. May ganon. Meron 2-3 set, meron 1-2-2,
Corner set.
may triangle set, yon. But ours is based on a 1-2-2 set. All right, so our breakdown drill is point, wing, wing. All right, here we go. Our first cut is the pass and cut and field. That's the second pass. You see the continuity. It's a continuity offense until somebody is free to get a shot. Like that. So that means I can pass the ball and cut to the basket. I can do that. It's my option. All right? Or okay, now this is a different naman. It's not point, wing, wing anymore. It's point, wing, and corner. But the same, you screen down. It doesn't show the V-cut, but it keeps moving the basketball, and you have a shot. Okay, assuming that you're open, you have a shot. Now the next one is curl to the basket. 1, 2, 3, 4, and one more. And then he's going to curl to the basket for a layup. Those are controlled. Kumbaga, those are control drills. You can control it and tell them what you want to do so they can get accustomed to it. Now is the flare. 1, 2. Nakakalimutan mag-B-cut ng video but there has to be a B-cut. All right, see? Kunyari, nagdaya yung defense ng number 2, he cheats over at the top, then he'll be wide open here. And this flare, or if the number 1's defense goes out to number 2, number 1 will be open here. They will make a mistake. The defense, if they read it right, the defense will make a mistake. And that is what the offense is all about, for the defense to make a mistake. All right, I think this is backdoor. There, backdoor. And again, flare, he'll be open. All right, now this is if there is a switch. The screener will slip. And there's a switch, so he slips. Remember number 2 coming up, because you should feel all those spots. Okay, that's the 3 on 0. Now you go to the 4 on 0. Same principle. Pass the ball, but in different positions. Same cuts, same reads. Everything is the same, but you now put it to 4 offensive players. Again, minimum of 5 passes. So now you have you feel now all 4 spots. Just recognize the movement, the guy pass and cut, feel, reverse, pass and cut, feel, movement, and a layup. So now you want to jump shot. Now this time you decide to pass and screen away. Pass, screen away. Okay, number 1, keep screening number 4 so that hindi na puputol. Pass, screen away. Remember, there is nobody standing and watching. Everybody is moving. Then you have a shot. It doesn't necessarily have to be a 3-point shot. But now you want to curl to the basket.
Coach Jong,
yeah, go ahead.
what is the ideal spacing?
All right. Okay, let's pause this a little bit. All right. All right. When we run this drill, we put excess here. Excess on where they are, X spots. So that the ideal spacing is between 15 to 18 feet apart. That's what's in the book. We are theoretical in that. But of course, it doesn't happen perfect. But at least if they have an idea of where they should be, like on the wing, in the corner, at the point, and at the wing, then they should be in good spacing. The problem with this offense is when he screens down here and he comes up and he stays over in this area. Do they see this one, this arrow?
Yes, yes.
If the number 3 screens number 4 and he stays in this area, eventually he will have bad spacing. So when 3-man screens here and 4 goes up, he has to spread back out to this area to keep the spacing. All right, kasi that's the tendency. Boom and stay here. Screen and stay here. So you should pop back out away from the 3-point line to maintain the spacing. See, if number 1, yeah, you see number 1, he stepped back out of the 3-point line. It keeps the spacing. Number 4 will step again out to the 3-point line. It keeps your spacing. Number 2 will step back out to the 3-point line. It keeps the spacing. And it's tiring. I know the motion offense is a tiring offense because you just keep moving. But I just wanted to see because some when I go to the province, some coaches just want to do 5 on 0 right away, but they need to learn how to break it down. up to the 5-on-0. It's just taking too long a little bit, but all right, this is going to be my last in the video, where they can see a better appreciation of the offense in a, in a diagram. When you go to the 5-on-0, it's better appreciated here. There's your spacing, perfect spacing, down screens, everybody's moving, the ball is moving, there's nobody standing except the guy with the basketball. It's so hard to defend because there's constant movement. And now the defense is worried about the ball, worried about his man, worried about so many things. The offense is just worried about what he's supposed to do and what the defense is doing. This is a better appreciation. And then you can do your then now you can do your curl cut. You can do your curl cut. Where's the curl here? There. Now you can do your curl cut. So it keeps the defense busy.
Coach, you mentioned earlier dribble with a purpose.
Yeah. Okay.
What is the ideal number of dribbles?
No, well, if you're not going anywhere, just to get a better angle, like for example, this number 3, number 1 gets here, just get a better angle to get a pass. All right, that's 1. Number 2 is go to the basket. Going to the basket. Let's take this video for example. Number 4 is screening number 1, correct? Where is number 4's? Number 1, defender number 1 will be concentrated on number 1 because he is being screened. Number 4's concentration will be where? Probably here, correct?
Yes.
Probably here because there's action here. So number 3 has all this lane to go to the basket because of this movement. Just because of this movement, he can take the ball to the basket. Right? Now, if number 4's man is concentrated on helping number 3, that means if he sets a good screen for number 1, nobody will help number 1 on a curl, on a shot here, nobody, because he is concentrated on the ball. So it's really hard to defend. Now, these two guys will probably be on the high side because you're 1 pass away from the basketball. So you're probably on the high side, not worried about what's happening here. And you're still moving.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, that's a flare if you cheat. All right, I think we got the idea. Now
Yes.
yeah, that's why you need to practice this offense every day, is because the coach cannot control what the offense does, because you're supposed to teach them how to make decisions and how to play the game. Yeah, how to play the game. It's not plays. It's decision making of the player in situations in the game. So you leave them that leeway, and it's a good learning tool for the players and the coaches also. And Coach Ron was very strict. On moving the basketball, taking good shots, not turning the ball over. You know this, coach. Turning the ball over is a mortal sin. Taking bad shot is a mortal sin, because if you take a bad shot, it's like a turnover. Not moving the basketball quick enough. Pass the ball, diba? So, in fact, Coach Ron used to get mad if we dribble the ball without a purpose. That's why we very seldom dribble the ball unless we are going to the basket. So now it's a Now it's a dribbling game. So the game has evolved. Well, primarily because the skill set of the players now are better because of the training. So syempre, nag-i-evolve ang laro. Anyway, our takeaway for the day before our question and answer is, yes, this is one offense, but coaches, decide an offense that you want to run based on your personnel. Because I showed you motion offense doesn't mean that this is the right offense. It's the offense but we run before because it is our personnel. So choose an offense that fits your personnel. You might have a big man, then you might want to run a post game. You might have guards, the bigs that can shoot, but the guards that can post. So you might run a post game with the guards. So the ball pick motion offense, which is the in thing now, is because most players practice the ball pick. That's what the skill set of the players now are more ball pick oriented. So now that's why the ball pick motion offense came about. The isolation offense came about because of the skill set, because we practice ball handling skills every day, and we can take our players, our defenders off the dribble every single time. Even the 7-footers can take their man every single time off the dribble. That's why the game evolves. But during our time, I remember this is a very basic offense that is good for the youth because it does not give you plays, it gives you the learning tool to recognize, anticipate, and make your reads and decide. Yeah.
Coach, just for our younger coaches, I know your teammates were, but just name a few of your teammates that were. I know the late Alpar Mario is one of them, a great shooter in your generation.
Yeah, we had Hector Calma, we had Elmer Reyes, we had said Alfiel Mario, we had Franz Pumaren, we had Derek Pumaren, we had Teddy Alfarero, also rest in peace. We had Tonichi Ituri, and of course we had Chip Engelan, Jeff Moore, and Dennis Steele as our naturalized, of course, diba? So the three naturalized players helped also in the success of the national team.
But they didn't started with the team yet in '82.
No, in 1982, no, we were all Filipino in 1982 for the Asian Youth.
Uh-huh.
And just to give a tip to all coaches, the first, Coach Ron's thinking. Coach Ron's thinking is the first player that he will get is a point guard, and the point guard will dictate what kind of tempo he will run. So when we were in 1982, the point guard that he had was Hector Calma, which that is why we had a running game, a motion type running game offense because of our point guard. So your point guard will dictate the tempo that you will run. Do not force a half court player point guard to run, or do not force a up tempo point guard to set up half court. Yes, you may set up half court, but I mean the tempo of the game. Yes, every once in a while you run, every once in a while you slow down the tempo. But I mean the tempo of the type of game that you like to play generally will be based on your point guard.
Okay. So we continue with the question and answer. The so we'll stop the screen share so we can.
All right, stop the screen share. All right,
Okay.
nice.
There you go. Thank you so much for that presentation, Coach. So there's a lot of questions. Teddy, can you go through?
We have one question. This is Coach Jong mentioned the importance of knowing your personnel to dictate what offense you're going to run. One of our questions here by one of the coaches is, I only have one shooter on my team. So in terms of the motion offense, would that still be a...
I don't know. The effectiveness, not only motion offense, the effectiveness of every offense is to shoot the basketball. over basketball, we need to make shots. I'm sure naman that your players can make can make some shots. Can make some shots. All right, let's take this for example. Let's just say that. Let's just say, all right, given a scenario that your players cannot shoot the ball, which is your question. I played against Coach Chot. Coach Chot, he had Coke with him. No offense against the players, but referee Viz was not a great shooter. Jeffrey Carriazo was not a great shooter. They did not. I think the only great shooter they had was, if I'm not mistaken, Rob Wainwright. If I'm not mistaken, it's been a long time.
Mhm.
But it doesn't mean that you should throw away the offense. You should find another way to maximize your non-shooters. All right, let's just call them non-shooters. What you do is, I'm going away already from the offense. What you do is you start pressing now, so that you start pressing to up tempo the game, so it neutralizes your non-shooters, but they'll become more effective on the open court game, right? Because you said you don't have shooters. Now, let's just say you don't have shooters in the off season. Develop them to become some type of shooter. I'm very sure that they will improve at their shooting. Um, Are they good post players? I'm sure they're good. Are they good post players? Are they good pick and roll players? Are they good dribble drive players?
So
Yun,
coach
yun ang,
recognize the strengths of the
yes,
players.
recognize the strength. That's what I said. Motion opens. Okay, let's take this for example. All right, I have no system. All right, I'm telling you this. I'm not a triangle man. I'm not a motion offense man. I'm not a dribble drive man. I have no offensive system. What I come into practice and see who the players I have. Once I recognize who the players I have, then I will devise a simple system wherein I can get them the shots that they can make. For example, I was in San Miguel. I was a post-up game because I had Danny I and Danny S. So why will I run something? I just post them up. When I transferred to Ginebra, I became more of a pick and roll player. Why? Because I had JJ and Mark Agiwa. I posted up, but I very seldom posted up. I only posted up Eric Meng. That's the only guy who I posted up. But the rest were all open court, ball pick type of offense because that is the player that I like, that I have. So uh, uh, see the strengths, as Doc said, see the strength of your personnel, and then devise an offense that will make them effective. Yeah.
Coach, thank you. Uh, we,
You could pinpoint when finally Coach Ron, you earned Coach Ron's trust and respect as a coach. When was it? Was it during a game or during preparation or a tournament?
Uh,
That's a question from Coach Bong Paredes.
yeah, honestly, Coach Ron, Coach Ron was really looking for somebody to share his knowledge to, and he did not have confidence in me. Why? Because he did not think that I will spend the time. Right? He did not think that I was the type of person to spend the time.
Mhm.
And
So,
I had to, prove him wrong. But even after my playing days, I always go to him, stay late in the night just to talk about basketball. So, yun, parang those nights, I think it made him decide that yes, he is going to spend the time. Because what will I do there in the night? I can stay home. But I went to him to talk about basketball, watch the games, talk about basketball. So that was the turning point. The time that I spent just sitting down with him, dinner after dinner, just talking about basketball. That made him be convinced that I will be willing to spend the time.
okay. Perfect. Teddy, there's more questions. Teddy?
Yeah, Coach.
Okay.
Do you have any drills so that players can improve on offensive rebounds? This is a question from Ivan.
All right. Yeah, drills for offensive. You know, there are play. Okay, we always mention about rebounding. As Coach Ariel knows, it rebounding is just effort. Whether it is defensive rebounding or offensive rebounding, is effort. It is the willingness to go to the board every time a shot is taken. Every time if you're on defense after boxing out,
Mm-hmm.
attack the boards. Offensive rebound. If you are on the weak side, attack the boards. All right. On offensive rebounding, for them to become a good offensive rebounder, is they should study the trajectory of the basketball. The trajectory of the basketball. Some people say, ay, maamo siya sa bola, di ba?
Mm-hmm.
Maamo siya sa bola eh. Well, Dennis Rodman. Of course, the effort will be always there. But if you are going opposite where the ball will bounce, it does not matter what effort you have. You're going away from
Uh-huh.
the basketball, di ba? So, I'm very sure that Rodman or Freddy Abuda for that matter, or Rudy Hatfield for that matter, or Nick Velasco for that matter, had an inkling of where the ball will most likely bounce. Then they are just in that situation wherein the ball is one or two steps away from where they are. Then
They
you
have
will
to
then you will be a better offensive rebounder if more or less, it's not 100% again, but more or less, alam mo kung saan babaksak yung bola. Of course,
they have
effort will always be there.
they have to watch film. They have to watch their opponents. A
Sure.
student of the game. Yeah.
Yeah, and then just teach them, the ball is shot in the corner, where will the ball most likely bounce? In the opposite corner. If the ball is shot on the wing, especially if it's a three-point shot, most likely it will go towards the wing or towards the corner. Then mag-aabang-abang lang ako doon. Yun. But the
Uh,
number one thing is attack the board. That's the thing. Do not be lingering outside of the three-point line or in the perimeter because you will not get the ball. Every time a shot is taken, box out, attack the boards, or if an offensive shot is taken, especially if you're on the weak side, attack the boards.
there's some common questions, Coach, from the attendees with regards to playing motion offense against the zone. Because yes, they run the offense and then the other team will run zone because they can't stop the offense from moving. So what
Yeah.
will be like counters, or what's your zone offense, or how do you solve it?
All right. They say, I never experienced it. All right. They say that the motion offense can work in the zone offense, but I've never tried it. I've never tried it because every time I see a zone, then I shift my offense to my zone offense. But if you want to know my zone offense, coach, then I always run a simple 1-3-1 offense, very basic, and then if I get stagnant with the 1-3-1 offense, then I just run plays of the 1-3-1 offense against the zone. Because motion offense will get stagnant also every once in a while. So you have to put in some plays so that it doesn't become stagnant. Any continuity offense will become stagnant sooner or later. So you have to reboot it by putting some plays para mag-iba lang ng konti yung takbo.
Okay.
Coach, this
Good.
is a personal question.
Yeah.
Could you give us 5 qualities that a basketball coach should possess in order to be successful? I'm
All
very
right.
curious to hear what your 5 are.
Yeah, in my experience, I don't know about the other coaches that might have, but in my coaching experience, of course, first is your love for the game. That's number one. You should love the game, uh, win or lose. Win or lose, you should still love the game. That's why you're here. Whether the game is going well for you or the game is going against you, your love for the game will keep you there. All right. Second is, again, Coach Ariel, we said, is time. You have to be able or willing to spend the time and sacrifice because uh, you practice 3 hours a day, then you watch the game, that's another 3 hours, you talk to the coaches. So it's more than just the whole day. And when you're home, it's not like basketball stops when you're at home. No, you keep thinking. Sometimes you cannot sleep because you keep thinking. All the time you keep thinking. So time, if you're willing, you should be willing to spend the time after your love for the game. You should be willing to spend the time. Of course, you should be hardworking and perseverance because not every time you will win. Not every time you will have a job. Not every time it will be good. We think that coaches has a glamorous job. No, we have our heartaches and hardships
Yes.
also. So we have to
Extremes.
extreme. We have to persevere, persevere, tiyaga, and of course, we have to have an open mind because we are good in talking, but when you implement something, sometimes ang hirap magdesisyon. So we have to have an open mind in learning other things. Like for example, I as coach, I had championships here and there. Why do I still watch other clinics? Why do I go inside and other clinics to watch? Because I still have an open mind to learn more things. To learn more things. Open mind. Don't be close-minded. No, I'm better than that guy. No more. It cannot be. Think about that guy is always better than you so that you can learn and have an open mind. In fact, it's nice to be, kunyari, mas magaling yung para, so that you can learn more. So have an open mind. Time, have an open mind, love for the game, your perseverance and hard work. And of course, everybody says, what is your why? What is your why? Why are you here? Why are you here? Because I want to be sikat. Nako. O paano yan pag hindi ka na sikat? Ayaw mo na ng basketball, di ba? Ang hirap nito eh. So your why has to be deeper than superficial. Yun ang ano ko. That is based on my experience. Kasi ang hirap ng coach. I've been fired so many times. But I had to what do you call this? I had to recover. Because I had to recover. Fired here, recover, lose here, recover. Diba? Kasi kailangan maka-bounce back agad eh. So your why should be really, really very deep for you to be able to sustain your coaching.
Thank you,
That's
Coach.
very good nugget especially for aspiring coaches.
Yes.
The personal experience of coach. What was your role with Coach Ron when you were an assistant? And this is a question from Clarence Arcangel, and how he delegate the work, and
All right.
as a head coach, how do you delegate your work to your assistants also? I think it's
Yeah.
very good question.
Yeah, very good question. I was the number one assistant of Coach Ron. So, kasi minsan, I don't know with the other coaches, um, sometimes ako as a head coach, if I hear too many things in the game, in practice okay lang because you discuss your practice plan during a meeting. Eh. So you can have a discussion, many discussion, di ba? Practice. But in the game, if you hear too many things, pati ikaw nalilito ka. So, I was the number one assistant and we had one or two more assistants which if we see something, we discuss kami mga assistant and decide on one thing so that when I got to Coach Ron, there's only one thing. Kasi si Coach Ron has already one thing in mind. He just doesn't know if he will do it or not. I will put in another one. Kung pareho kaming pinag-uusapan, then ayos tayo, di ba? One. Because we nag-synchronize kami. If it is different from what he is thinking about, it is easier to decide because there's only two, mine and his.
Mhm.
And what happens if four assistant coaches go to you during the game and you have four different suggestions in the game and you have 2 seconds to decide, what will happen to you? All right? So that is the way the delegation is. One assistant coach, you discuss, and then you decide, and then one assistant coach goes and approaches the head coach. Um, some coaches have defensive coaches, offensive coaches, and whatever coaches. And then if it is defense, he's the one that decides on the defense. If it is offense, he decides to tell the coach that it is offense. That is also good. All right, that's also good. Especially the game now is getting to be complicated. Maraming mga complications sa game. Dati very simple, ngayon complicated. So that's good. If you have a defensive coach, if there's anything on the defensive end, then that defensive coach will tell the head coach. If there's an offensive, if it is offensive suggestion, then the offensive coach will go to the coach and then say what the offense is. If the defensive coach, well, that's why sometimes I don't like this, because the defensive coach should also know what the offense is, what the offensive coach is also thinking about. So if the defensive coach has something to say about the offense, then the defensive coach will talk to the offensive coach and they will decide on what to do. Then the offensive coach will go to the head coach and tell them. Yun.
How many were you, coach, as assistants? I know there's a plenty of assistants now sa pro game, especially. During that time, how many assistant coaches?
I think there were only three, if I'm not mistaken. Take away the analytics, all right? Take away the analytics. We were like three, all right? The head coach and the scout, me, and another assistant. So we had three assistant coaches. Now you have analytics, or probably you might have four. That's a legit. You have a skills coach. So 4 or 5 would be right at this time.
Okay. Coach, I know you've coached a lot of years in the PBA and won a lot of championship. Who were the top 3 coaches that you had a hard time or challenged you the most?
For me, coach team, it's so hard. Coach Chot, it's so hard because they think out of the box. They think out of the box. Their team is this coach team is very disciplined in his approach. Coach Chot is, think out of the box approach. So many surprises. Coach Chot has so many surprises. And his team plays hard every time. Not surprisingly, he's not in the PBA anymore. But Coach Shot Tankinsen, because he knows me, he knows my every move. So I always I have a lose. He knows that. So I have a losing percentage with him because he knows my thinking. That is why your assistant coaches are very important, because it gives you another perspective. So I rely so much on my assistant coaches.
How are you as a coach? Are you more of a authoritarian, strict, or a diplomatic type, or what? Or a combination?
A combination, but I was never an authoritarian. I always had an autonomous type, but in fact, sabi nila, I am too good. I am too good of a basketball coach, but I do get mad every once in a while. Kasi ako, I believe in coaching my personality kasi. Kasi if I do not coach my personality and nagalit ako, kaliwat kanan ako nagagalit, pangit ang dating. It will not come out the right way. It will not come out the right way. But if I do coach my personality, explain to them whys, explain to them what, when, and then it's easier for me to handle the players.
Coach, how about Coach Ron in terms of personality? Was he a disciplinarian?
Yes, he was a disciplinarian. He was a hard, ang tawag doon, not man slave driver, but he works
demanding.
Hard. Yeah, demanding. Yes, very demanding in practice. Oh wow, super demanding in practice as a coach. But outside of the basketball court, you can approach him anytime. Yun ang maganda kay Coach Ron. He has a good relationship with his players. And so, because of his good relationship with the players, pagdating sa basketball court, talagang buhos. They play 100% for Coach Ron.
Mr. Ruben Terrado of Spin.
Oh, Ruben.
Ruben, can you ask a question?
Nakamute si Ruben.
Hello? Oh, nakamute pa. Baka busy pa. Later
Did you know in the Asian Youth, we practiced for 6 months? 6 months. And because we had a, what do you call that? Hell Week. Parang Hell Week yun. Parang ano lang, kwento lang. Hell Week. 1 week of hell. Talaga. 3 times a day practice. Walang talagang Hell Week. And if you do not, that means, I believe in that if you can overcome that Hell Week, you can overcome any adversity that you go through the game. So you know that things will not be easy. Kasi sometimes players find it easy. And then when they encounter some adversity in the game, parang bumibigay ba? So I believe in Hell Week. Maybe not for the PBA.
Ready, there's some more questions. I think we'd answered this.
Coach Jong, when Coach Ron coached San Miguel in the 90s, early 2000s, he had some players who were in the latter part of their careers, like Nelson Aitana, Juan Alvarez, and he was able to bring out the best in them. You being with him, aside from the X's and O's, how was he able to bring out the best in these players?
All right. Okay. We call egos. All right. We tell players, when you come into the basketball court, you set your egos aside. Right? Set your egos aside so that you can play your team game as a team. Okay? Coach Ron was a disciplinarian. He was demanding. He was, really hard. He'll make you work hard. When he first coached, he knew that he needed Nelson to win the game because he was our only legit scorer. So, Coach Ron preaches leaving your ego, setting your egos aside. He set his ego aside for the good of the team. That's why Nelson was such a great player because Coach Ron set his ego aside so that Nelson Asaitono can play the best he can. Kasi if you discipline Nelson, he will not be the same player that he would have played. If you disciplined him, no, you can only do this, you can only do that. No, he wasn't that type of player. So that's why that team of Coach Ron was very successful. Was very successful because everybody, even Coach Ron, set his ego aside for the good of the team.
Thanks, Coach.
There's a question from Coach Cholo Villanueva.
Oh, Cholo, hello.
Do you designate shooters or drivers among players, or everybody can do anything? When the ball is in the middle, which action do you look at? Left or right? Or if both have actions, where do you look at?
All right, one by one. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. All right. I don't designate drivers or shooters. I know if he can shoot the ball, then he can shoot the ball. I know if he's better driving to the basket, then I maximize that strength. I know not all players have the same skill set, But whatever their strength is, then I maximize that strength. For example, he's a driver, then just drive. I'd rather you drive to the basket than shoot the jump shot. But that's why we have skills coach for you to improve your shooting so that when they come out you, then you can maximize your driving to the basket. So it's the improvement of the skill level. While shooters, of course, I want you to shoot the ball, but if they close out on you hard, then your skill set should be able to make you drive to the basket. So that's why there's skills coaches that can improve your skill set, improve it. But at the start, I will maximize whatever their strength is. Medyo pipigilan ko sila ng konti depending on their skill set. Right. And I experienced that, like, for example, Ronald Tubin, I just told him, just shoot the spot up shooter. Don't put the ball on the floor too much. Just spot up shooter and you're good at it. But eventually, because of our skills training, then he was eventually able to get to the basket and so forth and so on. Yeah. And then if the ball is in the middle, if the ball is in the middle, of course, I'd like to, depends on what the action is. For example, if you're running motion offense and the ball is in the middle, where you got, if the ball came from the left side going to the right side, I want the middleman to be the ball reversal. He has to reverse the ball to the other side. I don't want him to give the ball back to where the ball came from. Yun. I want him to be the ball reversal. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I don't want the ball sticking in the middle. I don't want the ball sticking in the middle. I like the ball reversed because I want the ball to go from side to side unless you are setting a high ball screen.
Okay.
Yep.
Coach Jong, we have a question here from Coach Luis Gonzalez.
Oh, Louis.
Coach,
yes.
can you share with us your experience about Coach Ron's strategy on making use of time and to slow the game?
Oh,
Like
all right.
how to lower the score?
How to lower
Thank you.
the score? All right. Kasi when we were, yeah. All right. Yeah. How to lower the score? Okay. Even when we were in the national team, we had a fast game. But the games were still kind of low because we didn't turn the ball over that much. He was very adamant in not turning the ball over. If we turn the ball over, you hear so many curses all over the court. If we turn the ball over, that's why we were so maingat kami sa bola. And he did not like to give up any fast break points as much as possible. So we had to get back on defense. That's why even if the game was going up and down, it was not an up and down game based on turnovers and not sprinting back or fast break game. The game was based on a missed shot and a fast break, but we got down on defense, or a made basket and they had to take the ball out of bounds. Unlike now, that's why the games are high scoring, is because those scores are made on turnovers and not sprinting back on defense. That's why it's layup after layup after layup. We also controlled the possessions. Yeah, controlled the possessions of the game, wherein the possessions are less between teams. Like when I was in San Miguel, we slowed the game down. He played decent defense, but it was the scores were low because the possessions were lesser. Yun, I hope I answered that right.
Yes. Ruben is ready now. Ruben?
Jong,
Oh, there you go. You're live.
yeah. Coach Jong, my question lang is I'm curious lang when you took over nung Busan Asian Games, no? Kasi 'di ba si Coach Ron medyo nagkasakit. So paano yung naging adjustment mo noon at time, and at saka of course you were coaching parang halos all-star team din, halos karamihan nung nasa Asian Games. How were you able to
All right.
handle them and play their roles dun sa national team?
All right. Yeah, ang bigat talaga well, it's that bigat. It's hard to handle a national team because again, we talk about egos. Again, we talk about because they're all-star players. Again, we talk about them needing the basketball all the time. So what I did was before I just took over Coach Ron. He already had a tryout, but we already had an idea of what kind of team we wanted to form. All right, but that's beside the point. When we formed the team, I was honest with. Oh, sorry. Before we formed the team, I was honest already with the players. One is I am not a 12-player rotation coach.
Mhm.
I am not. I am an 8 at the most is 10-player rotation coach. All right? So, if you will be picked in the team, you should be able to accept not playing because I'm on only 8 and 10-player rotation team, player coach, right? So when you are picked, don't come to me later on and say that I am not being played. I already told you that I am not a 10 to 12. I am not a 12-player rotation coach. So that was made clear at the start. All right. So wala naman akong narinig. So okay. So I formed the team to 15 because it's 15 and then you take out 3. I was honest with also that one. I will get 15 players, but 3 of those players will not play, will be put in the reserve. If you are willing to do that, then you keep playing, you keep in the tryout. But you might be one of the 3. I cannot guarantee that. All right. When I formed the 15, I made them take an exam. Hindi naman exam. It's a questionnaire. Questionnaire, I forgot. I don't know if I have a copy, but I made them write answer a questionnaire stating their commitment, their commitment. So many questions stating their commitment to the program. Yun. So you're parang yun na yung ano mo. Parang ano ba tawag doon? Biblia. If you call that Bible or your commitment that you are committed to the national team program in the next months to come before we go to the Busan Asian Games. So I had their commitment. That's how I handled all these egos. Are you willing to sacrifice this? Are you willing to sacrifice that? And their answers were all the same. They were all affirmative in sacrificing for the national team. So I didn't in commitment, in terms of commitment, I did not have any problem. Yeah.
Any follow-up, Ruben, or you're satisfied? You're okay?
Yun na lang kay Coach Ron Jacobs kasi dapat siya yung mag-handle nun. So, nung bang time na yun, may input din siya dun sa Asian Games team na yun.
Ako?
I mean si Coach Ron.
Coach Ron.
Coach Ron.
When you
May
sick,
input ba siya nun during that time?
Hindi kasi that is when he had the stroke. That's why
Yes.
I was the one who took over.
Hmm.
So, but I have his bueno mano to si Ariel sa ano niya. I have his coaching during the Asian Games, yung notes na nandito pa ron. I have it. So parang yun na lang yung input niya, what he planned to do more or less, in the Asian Games. Yun. More or less what he planned to do.
okay. All right. Thank you, Ruben, for that
Yes.
very incisive. So I think we're good for last three questions. Okay. Before we can all have dinner. So, Coach, what aside from basketball, what was the most important life lesson you've learned from Coach Ron? It's from Christian Bruel.
Yeah. What I learned from him is his, though he was really very demanding, pero his relationship with the players was really genuine ang trato niya sa mga player. That is why players that he was under, mahal siya even up to now. they still give tribute to Coach Ron because his relationships with them were very genuine. Yun lang na hindi cooking, kumbaga. Genuine talaga. Genuine talaga. That is why he is loved. He is well loved by his players.
Yeah,
And
from
he,
okay, sige coach. Continue, sorry.
And yung ano naman, yung meron siyang phrase palagi pag nagre-relax ako. Kaya doon, nakikita niya ako nagre-relax. Sabihin niya palagi, the harder you work, the luckier you get. Hindi ibig sabihin na nanalo ka lang, relax na tayo, di ba? So, parinig lang yun, parinig lang.
Very good nuggets of knowledge from Coach Ron. In today's game, for Filipinos and the current players that we have, what do you think is the best system that we can apply in the world stage? From Erickson Abante.
I think the right person to ask that is Coach Tab. I think because he's already been in that stage. Tayo, we have not been in that stage. We have been in the Asian Games stage. If we are talking about Asian Games, then I can answer you. But in the big stages, like in the like in the Olympics or in the or that type of the world, we've been there, but because the game has changed, diba? So much has changed in the game. For me, it's really I'm how do you say, I'm at a loss, diba? Honestly speaking, because kasi mentality, we understand the mentality of the Filipinos. We are more on the dribble and shoot game. We are good at the dribble and shoot game. Diba? But is that even if we are good at that, is that good for the international competition? And even if I say no, then we'll have to reorganize our mentality. Yeah.
For final question, obviously, is from my San Miguel Beer fan. Did Coach Ron initiated the trade for Olsen at that time? As an assistant, did you see that it would pan out? How would it pan out at that time?
Okay, yeah.
What was the story about that, Coach?
All right, I mentioned in my talk earlier. What is the first player that Coach Ron will get?
Point guard.
The point guard. So when he had an assist, when he was named as head coach of the San Miguel Beermen, the first person that we looked for, even myself, was a point guard. And we were looking at so many players, but yes, we wanted this player, but he will not be available. We wanted that point guard, but he will not be available. So who is the next point guard that we might have a chance, that we like the style of play, that we might have a chance of getting? And it was Olsen Rosella, because he played hard, he was smart, and he played behind Dindo. He played behind Dindo in Pure Food. So for Olsen to be able to maximize his game, he had to move, kumbaga. And we were able to get Olsen. And who knows naman that he will be the Olsen Rosella now if he did not work hard, if he did not do his job. We only got him, but it is up to the player to make himself better.
I think Coach Olsen is listening right now. So
he knows the story. He went to the house here. He went to the house here and talked to Coach Ron in the middle of the night.
Okay. Thank you for that, Coach. And again, Joe, I think it's time for us to wrap up this session. I know we want plenty more time with Coach, but some parting words, Coach Jong, and in behalf of Hoop Coaches, of course, we'd like to thank you for sharing your time and knowledge with our fellow coaches. And I know this is your passion also of mentoring our coaches, especially those under you and us under you. So any parting words, Coach Jong.
Nagpapasalamat lang ako sa lahat. Sana, I hope na sana na may natutunan tayo na maski konti. Even if you are able to get one or two things that you can use or you can magagamit sa buhay o sa basketball, malaking bagay na sa akin yon. And I hope I was able to help. If you have any other questions, you can go to the Facebook SBP Facebook page and ask questions. I answer. And I hope that we all all stay safe, get through this COVID. And Coach Ariel, you're doing a good job in Coach Ariel, Coach Louis, Doc, doing a good job in making basketball accessible to all these coaches, and eventually it will go back to you also.
Thank you so much, Coach, for also spending your time with us again. And again, we'd like to thank all the coaches for attending. And again, we have some good news that we will have boards to give away and then signboards to auction off for the good cause for our frontliners. And Teddy, any parting words?
Coach Jong, thank you for sharing your knowledge. You have the biggest number of attendees, I think, among all of our talks so far.
I don't know everything. I know some, but I don't know everything. So it's just fun to talk about basketball.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We'll come back again by 8 p.m. We have Coach Preston from NCAA Division One school to talk about his transition game. So again, thank you so much, coaches, and thank you so much, Coach Jong, Teddy, and see you again. And don't forget to pray, of course, that this COVID ends soon, and to support our frontliners. Again, thank you so much, and good night, and have dinner for all of us here in the region. Thank you.